Greg and I are here to spill the occult tea today, and I wanted to be honest right up front that the reality of social media is that 95% of what I share in public videos is not ritual. Leandra and I talk about this a lot on the Magic Kitchen podcast, that it's not because it's fake. What you see online is the preparation of the working or some of the remains afterwards. I wouldn't bring my camera or my phone into a ritual for two reasons. One is that it feels disrespectful to the spirits that I'm working with to not give them my full attention. And two, it feels harder to get in the spiritual zone when I have that open line of my phone in circle. When I choose what to record, what to share on the podcast or in a story or a caption, I really think of it in two main ways. One, is this helpful or otherwise beneficial to conversations for those seeking and practicing witchcraft? And two, is it too personal? Would it offend the spirit relationships I have to share this? The experiences that we have with gods or spirits is often for us alone. There are intimate details that, well, like intimate details, I wouldn't normally share with a public audience because it's sacred. I'm a writer and a teacher. By extension, an author, a poet, a ritualist, an animist, a columnist. I got my master's degree in witchcraft and followed through with full initiation with my coven, and I live witchcraft every day, every aspect of my life. And I have a calling and a talent to be a teacher. And I don't say this to pat myself on the back, but because it's where I come from. All these other things I do as a videographer, photographer, graphics editor, it's all in service to this greater calling in the craft. And as a writer, it's often my captions where I channel the real wisdom. And of course, in the Magic Kitchen podcast, I share a lot longer form content. And in my workshops and my Patreon community where it's not so public, I feel much more comfortable to share full-length videos or full-length practices that I do there. And let's talk about online interactions in communities for a minute. I find these spaces to be valid environments for learning. But I don't call my magical living community a coven because I can't teach a tradition that way. I am a high priestess of the eclectic fairy tradition, but to do a coven and the work of a coven all online, fully online, it's not quite the same thing in my practice. However, here in Greece, doing workings online and connecting with people online who are your teachers is the only way, really. There's not a lot of in-person opportunities to learn the occult. So when it comes to choosing workshops and teachers, really what you need to do is look to their experience. Who taught them? How long have they been at it? And there aren't always guarantees, because I know folks with less years and more wisdom and vice versa, but there should be something backing their price tag. Leandra and I have done a couple episodes in the Magic Kitchen about discerning authenticity, and sadly it is getting harder and harder to do. And if you're newer to this and you have less experience in our realm, you might not readily see the grift. But it's in the pricing and their transparency. I always look to the elders, the people I respect, like Selena Fox and Starhawk and the dozens of authors and teachers I couldn't fit to mention, that have so much wisdom and years of experience behind them, and they do not charge that much. So that says it all to me. A following does not necessarily equal experience. The biggest takeaway from all of this is that social media is not meant to be the teaching. It's a jumping off point. It's not the entree, and it's really not even the appetizer. And it's definitely not the full meal. It's a teaser for the real thing. Your magical practice has to take you somewhere bigger than scrolling an app or even reading a book. These are passive things, and witchcraft is an active path. The work you do with what you learn, wherever you learn it, is what makes you a witch. Not your following, not your bookshelf, not your saved posts. These are just tools of the trade. You are the magic. Your path is yours alone. And all of us here in the occulty community are lifelong students, part of a global community of witches working to grow, lift each other up, and be our best magical selves. And I hope that all of us can stay true to that authenticity in everything we do.